Hello there, and thanks for stopping by. This video is made for the people who are visiting me for the very first time and want to know what I'm doing. This is a dividend income portfolio. This is not a growth portfolio. This is not a Roth IRA that you put into for 20, 30, 40 years. Or if you're a government employee like me and you have a TSP fund, I'm not putting into a target fund to watch it grow and then hopefully by the time you retire, you have enough money to live on. This is an income portfolio where I've set it up to get paid every Friday. So for me, every Friday is payday. And what we're looking at here with these screenshots is a fairly new investor to this dividend income. You can see I started in May of 2024, and you can see the dividend income I received through those months. Earned about $5,000 in dividend income. And on the right is my expected dividend income for January 2025. And with this portfolio, it's not growth. It is specifically for income weekly and monthly. And just for this week, payday being Friday, January 17th, it is a payday. I made $447 just for this week. And what's great about this, it's just, I didn't have to do anything. I just had to push a few buttons on my phone. And there it is, total passive income. Now that $450 right there, that's before tax. So you do have to tax yourself and set that aside. But I'm just a small time investor. Couldn't you use $450 a week or even $400 a week extra? Again, it's all passive income. I didn't have to do anything except push a few buttons right here on my phone. And then with this screenshot, this is through January 17th for the month of January. You can see $933 of dividends. So far this month through 17 days, $933. Now, for a small-time investor like me, couldn't you use an extra $900 a month? And this is just for the first 17 days. Again, you got to tax yourself, but even if you tax yourself and you had $600 extra a month, that's a nice chunk of change for someone like me. Continuing to look at this screenshot, the deposits I've made this month, the $444, I've only made about $200. I throw $50 here, $50 there, but $200 of this dollars I deposit is from my Fidelity credit card, which gives me cash back. $200 last month, being Christmas time. So that's free money, so to speak, with these deposits here. But $933 the first 17 days. If you look at the size of my account, which we'll go over, that's some nice income right there. So $933 so far. How am I getting to $1,271 by the end of January? Let's take a look. Now, this is not exact as the $1,271 because you can see the $1,318 here. That's because I've already reinvested some of those dividends that I received throughout the whole month. But let's go ahead and take a look at the first two positions that I have, the QDTE and the XDTE. They're round tail positions. 5 paydays in January because of the 5 Fridays, and I'm averaging, or I'm guesstimating, about $1.20 per share for QDTE and $1.31 for XDTE as far as paying a monthly dividend. And then you can see the share counts right here on this line. Now for MSTY, it's already paid $2.27. At the time I received the dividend, I had about 106 shares, so that's a little bit skewed right now. Coney already paid this month, 83 cents a share. YMAX, I'm guesstimating about 75 cents for the month or about 15 cents per week. Again, YMAX has 5 Fridays in January. NVIDIA, it'll be the last payment that I have. I believe they pay out on January 31st. I just plugged in 80 cents, so that's still up in the air. 50 shares. Tesla, I just opened yesterday. I threw $15 in, so I bought 1 share, and that's because I want to have the 4 yield max funds staggered that pay monthly to pay me weekly to help support my weekly payers. Now, my weekly payers are the Q, the X, and then Y max. So what do I mean by that? Well, with this list here, this is yield max funds. It's most of them, but they started to come out with new funds, so it's not all of them. But if you look, it has these 4 groups, A through D, and we have Tesla, NVIDIA, Coney, and MSTY, which I own. So I'll get paid on different weeks here. So 4 week setup, These are all the high yielders: Tesla, NVIDIA, Coney, and definitely MSTY. What do I mean by getting paid every week on these groups? Here's the first part of Yield Max schedule. You can see the declaration date, X date, and payment date. And we just had Group D pay, the MSTY declaration on January 15th, X date, and then the payday was yesterday at the time of filming because today is Saturday. But you can see Y Max, my weekly pair, it gets paid every week. So I'm using Tesla, NVIDIA, Coney, and MSTY to help support my weekly pairs, which I have 3 of Y Max, QDTE, and XDTE. And that, in a nutshell, is how I'm getting to $1,271. You know, give or take a few dollars. Hopefully it's more. Okay, let's get to the portfolio review. I have a Fidelity brokerage account. We'll start on the left. I had to actually break up my screenshots because I added Tesla and then I added Boo for my taxes. But anyway, Friday, January 17th, 2025. This is what happened. This is today's gain or loss, and we had a really good Friday. My biggest mover being that my core position, the QDTE, which I have about $13,500, went up $212. So with my portfolio, the QDTE and then the XDTE with about 8,700, that's the bulk of my portfolio. So wherever these go, my portfolio goes. So luckily this past week, they're trending upwards. But as you see, Coney had a good day. MSTY had a great day. NVIDIA, just everybody. And again, Boo, if you're new here, it's not a dividend income fund, but I want to practice this year of taking 30% out of my distributions or my dividends and put them into Boo to save for taxes for next year. And again, if my overall tax rate, if I can cover it, then I'm going to dump Boo back in to these high yield dividend funds. But for now, I'm just practicing with Boo, and that's why you see Boo there. And with these screenshots, this is the total gain or loss for each position since I've opened them. And at the moment, MSTY and NVIDIA are the only high yield dividend incomes that are positive, and the both of them are fairly new. The QDTE and the XDTE, what I call my core funds, they're down. I want these to be at least flat, but we know the trailing 30 days, we've had a down market along with those big distributions they had the last couple weeks of December. The Powell speech, you know where I'm getting at. These are starting to creep up nicely, though. I expect these to be close to just zero, but I want just a little capital appreciation while receiving those dividends. All right, let's quickly go over each position. Let's start with the first Yield Max funds. Coney, you can see I have 200 shares with an average cost of $15.07. I'm down about $300 or 9%. And yes, that does bug me. I'm not trying to let it bug me, but I got to remember we're in it for the dividend income. When I received the first distribution, I think it was about $166. I paid 83 cents. I did not reinvest back into Coney. I put it into Y Max, but I think because I want to hold long term, the next distribution in February, whatever that is, I'll put that back into Coney and lower this average cost of $15.07 and just try to ignore this big red number here. But Coney has been trending up this week. It's had some healthy gains. We'll see if it can continue next week during the short trading week. And then MSTY. Everybody loves MSTY. Now you can see I have 121 shares. I've owned this for less than a month, and I've already received the distribution. I think it was $200 and something. Oh, there we go. It was actually $241.74. But if you've been watching earlier this month, when MSTY pumped, I was able to rip $300. So basically, MSTY in less than a month, $541. That profit ripping, whatever you want to call it, I call it a self-imposed distribution, coupled with the regular distribution, over $500 in less than 30 days. Go MSTY. But anyway, my average cost, $29.41. Pretty darn good day, up 95 cents to finishing at $29.87. And those distributions that we receive, or the dividends that we receive, I bought back in, you can see, at this cost of $28.23 to help increase the share count. Okay, NVIDIA, I just bought in, you can see right here on January 10th, the 50 shares, you can see the average cost at $22.55. Again, NVIDIA is trending upward this week. I'm up $6, finished up 58 cents on Friday at $22.69. And then the weekly pair YMAX from Yield Max, you'll see 272 shares now, an average cost of $17.88. Again, I'm down 6% or about $300. This one doesn't worry me as much, so this is not as volatile. I expect it to go up and keep going up to get at least close to my average cost. And again, the dividends I receive from this, I'm just going to reinvest back into this to lower that average cost. YMAX didn't have the greatest week as far as dividends. I think it was about 11 cents per share. So that 11 cents times the 272, well, it was almost $30. And then Tesla, their ex-dividend, I believe, is next Thursday. I didn't want to put too much into it. Again, I just wanted to track it, so I bought about a share, and you can see my average cost, $14.69. It was up 31 cents because I was stupid and bought when it pumped, but I'm not worried about it. It'll go ex-dividend. I don't know how many shares I want to pick up. I'll probably just build it slowly, so maybe I'll buy 10 more shares on ex-dividend and kind of go from there and peel it out. Again, Tesla has reverse split before. I don't know if it'll trend that way, so I'm a little iffy on this, but it's the only high yielder that will fill in that fourth week for me to support my weekly pairs. And now to my biggest holdings, my round hill funds. This is my second biggest holding, the XDTE, which I love. You can see the average cost at $51.90 with 172 shares. I'm down about 3% or $250. And for all of 2024 that I've owned XDTE, it was always green, anywhere from 2 to 4% positive. So being in negative territory with the last 30 days being a downtrend with the Powell speech and the big distributions, I'm not used to seeing this negative number on XDTE, but it is trending up nicely. Finished up Friday 57 cents and ended at $50.43. And then my biggest holding, the QDTE, 337 shares, an average cost of $42.03. Again, down about 4% or about $600, up 63 cents on Friday, and it finished off at $40.30. And just quickly talking about QDTE, they had a distribution of 33 cents, a declaration that's been paid, and that paid me about $112 right there. But yes, it did pay 33 cents. And what's nice, it went up 63 cents. So it recovered its dividend of 33 cents and almost doubled the distribution. So at least for today. Now, I'm not saying on Tuesday it won't go down $1, but for now, that dividend is mine and then up some. And you can see right here through 3 weeks of January, I really love this QDTE. It's paid 81 cents so far. So even if we can just average 20 cents for the last 2 weeks, it'll pay out $1.20. So I'm hoping a little bit more than 20 cents for each of the next 2 weeks, because I'm trying to get above $1.20. So anything above $1.20 this month will be above what I've estimated. And this one, yeah, it does. I think it pays a dividend every quarter or maybe every year. But anyway, VU, I put $221 in VU so far. Again, I'm practicing setting aside 30% in taxes. The first week in January, I didn't set anything aside, so I started the second week. So that's the $221. Okay, let's get to this screenshot. I call this my reality screenshot because this is what it is with this dividend income portfolio. Let's take a look at the total gain or loss right here. Down $1,300 or about 3.79%. The goal of this dividend income portfolio is to at least be flat at $0 or 0%. Hopefully a little bit of appreciation while receiving those weekly and monthly distributions. You can see Friday's gain or loss up $600 or about 2.83%. And now let's go back to these screenshots, the total gain or loss. So with these screenshots, you can see the total dollar amount I have in each fund. If I were to add up all those dollar amounts, I get $34,598. We look at this net debit up here. I'm using $12,800 of margin. And I'm not afraid to use margin. I'm not even using all of my margin. I have a healthy buffer right now. But if I were to liquidate all the positions in my portfolio Fidelity would get their $12,800 back, and I'd be left with $21,797 cash. Again, you can see we're up Friday, $600 in my portfolio. And just look at this 1 month graph, how choppy it is. That's good for the distributions. So we want to keep trending upward. I want to get to capital flat 0%, because this is an income portfolio, not a growth portfolio. Folks, thanks for watching. Always, I'll see you in the next video.